Hey, this is Will at Downs Law. One of the questions we get a lot is if I have a real estate contract, what happens if the other person defaults on that contract? So whether I'm the buyer or the seller, we've got a contract for a piece of property, but one of the sides breaches that contract and therefore I can't close. What do I do in that situation? Well, the rights and remedies are pretty different depending on whether you're the buyer or the seller. So if you're the buyer and the seller defaults on the contract, meaning you want to buy the property, you have a contract to purchase the property. The other person, the person selling the property, no longer wants to do that. What do you do in that situation? Well, typically in Georgia, the buyers have the right of what's called specific performance, which means that if you have a contract for that property, you can petition a court to enter an order requiring the seller to comply with the terms of that contract, to perform under the contract. But in order to do that, you do have to go to a court, which means you have to pay court costs. If you don't know how to do it yourself, you'd have to pay an attorney. And then you have to file documents with the court stating why you're entitled to that relief. So it's not an easy process, but it is a remedy that's available to a buyer. Now, if you're a seller and your buyer backs out of the contract, generally, what rights do you have? Well, typically in Georgia, the earnest money that the buyer will put up in order to secure the rights to buy the property, your remedy is that you get to keep that earnest money. So you also don't get the right to compel the buyer to buy the property, because there may be a number of reasons why you wouldn't even want to do that, such as, the buyer's financing fell through and they can't buy it. So under Georgia law and Georgia contracts, typically you have the right to retain that earnest money as security for the buyer breaching the contract. So those are typically the buyers and sellers' rights in the event the contract is breached. And obviously the issue can be a lot more complex depending on the specific set of facts. But that's just kind of the general kind of big picture legal advice that we see when either a buyer or seller breaches the contract. So if you have a pretty specific or a different fact pattern, or every contract is going to be different. So if you'd like us to review that, take a look and see what your rights and remedies may be. Feel free to contact us at downslawllc.com. Thanks.